he was the biggest deal in the country to get to come to IU. And so everybody was freaking out.
And then I met Cody and I was like, oh my gosh, I love him so much. And he's like the most amazing man. Like he's everything and more that I prayed for. I feel like it's just a lifelong thing of just like learning to trust God and trust that his plan is so much better. Even when I would just like to take the reins.
I heard a speaker that spoke to our team that said that a lot of people spend their whole life trying to figure out what they're really good at, what they're meant to do. And then they spend the rest of their life trying to get to the top of that industry.
You know, like my songs, not everybody's going to connect to them, and that's okay. I get to write with amazing people. And so that really helps too when I like co-write and I can kind of be like, hey, is this a cool idea? Is this not a cool idea?
I think I learned so much from my parents just by watching them, of like seeing them, going to church and having the word open and starting their day that way.
Welcome to If You Can Hear Me, a space where culture meets the soul. I'm Ben Higgins. You may know me from The Bachelor, and you may know my guests from culture, headlines, and entertainment. This podcast is about going beyond the surface into something deeper. Each week, we sit down for open conversations about identity, faith, and the realities underneath it all. At its heart, this podcast is about creating space for people to slow down and speak freely. Not polished interviews or perfect answers, just real discussions that are unfiltered. I invite you to lean in and enjoy the conversation.
Leanna and Cody, thanks for jumping on.
Thanks for having us. So excited to be here.
It's an honor. Thank you.
I have a lot I want to talk to you about. You're both very accomplished in your own ways, and still accomplishing new things even at a young age. But for me, I think this is such a fun story. Leanna, you know this, the listeners don't. Cody and I went to college together. I was there, actually. A little backstory. A lot of my roommates I played AAU basketball with, and then I was the one friend, in fact, I write about in my book, who did not play college basketball. And I was like the other guy all through college. And I love that because it was a good role for me, but my ego did not like it. But I was there when Cody did his very first visit to IU, like official visit. And I still remember it. And I'm sure you're aware at this point, and he doesn't need to be told it, but like he was the biggest deal in the country to get to come to IU. And so everybody was freaking out. And I think we spent this like really talked about official visit, like throwing water balloons. Like I think we sat inside like video games. Like I think we did nothing that was like hyped up.
Yeah.
So that sounds right. That sounds like,
I think what I remember from that trip is like, traditionally when you go on your official visits, they will take all the athletes out to like the fraternities and the sororities and like, take them to the biggest party possible. And we knew you guys, the Indiana crew, knew a little bit more about my personality, that I would rather like hang at somebody's house and throw water balloons at cars and do more of that stuff than, go out to, get drunk at a party. And so it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun then. And then, yeah, like you were one of the guys. Like you're also built well too. Like you're tall enough that like when the basketball guys showed up, when I was on campus, they were like, yeah, he must play on the team too. So you fit in great. You were just one of the guys.
It was, and I loved it because I had so many close friends. I mean, to this day, some of my closest friends were there. But I wrote about it in my book. I remember over and over being asked, like they'd go around like, oh my gosh, there's Cody and there's Victor and all these guys, and they'd say, and who are you? And I'd have to respond with like, I'm just a buddy. Like I'm just here. I get good seats at basketball games, I guess. That's my my claim to fame.
You fit in so well with our crew because, we were like, we had some success on the court, but like all of us just wanted to hang as buddies, and you fit in great with our crew. So I still like some of my closest buddies, some of our closest buddies are still the same, Jordan Halls and Court Barnett and all those guys. And So it's just so fun to like continue to do life together, regardless of, how the Lord brought us together in college. And, now we can hang out and do life together. Now we're having babies and, doing family stuff now.
Getting married. And Leanna, I was reading a lot about your motivation for your career and the music that you're writing and putting out there. And whenever I have a guest on, I try to like, not in some like crazy spiritual way, just like pray over the moment. And I think back on my college experience. Granted, I had a great time, but there were, like, as Cody was saying, these incredible men that were following and pursuing Jesus above everything else, even with the, undeveloped brains of a 20-year-old still making other decisions along the way that I think really helped me become the man I am today. Helped me know that as God is at the center, we still have this beautiful picture. And then as we get older, life comes together in wonderful ways with marriage and kids and careers. To kick this thing off, I knew Cody in college, but I did not know you, Leanna. How did the two of you meet and connect? And what's your story of coming together in this relationship?
Yeah, I would have been if we had gone to college at the same time. I still don't think we would have met because I would have been like with like the drama and like the music nerds and like I don't think we would have met. I probably would have had a crush on you, but we met later after that. I moved to Nashville 9 years ago with my little sister. We moved together and from Washington State originally. And so obviously Cody's from Indiana, and kind of wild to, that we ended up together, which I love that. But I was playing I was opening for an artist outside of Charlotte where he used to live, and he came to hang out with that artist. And we met that night. This is like in 2018. So I'd only been in Nashville, not even like a year hardly. And we met and I was like, oh, he seems nice, but like he's an athlete. I don't know anything about this guy. Not that you were bad. I just didn't know him at all. And he was like eating, we got cookout after, and he had like all these trays of cookout. I just remember like so much food that he was eating on
That's
the
a
bus.
winner over.
Yeah. But I was, Cody likes this part of the story because he thinks it's so funny. But I was very blind when I was dating someone else at the time. And so
I had to get in line, so I had to wait my turn.
I just had I really was just like, I was like, oh, he's nice. It was fun to meet him. I was like, he's this really tall basketball player. I thought that was cool. And then, but of course I thought he was cute. I just didn't think anything of that. And then in 2020, actually, no, he would like DM me every once in a while, like just like, have a birthday and Merry Christmas. And still didn't really think anything of it, but I feel like you were just like checking in.
Just checking in.
I don't really know your motivation.
Seeing if she was single yet.
But you never like said anything. But anyways, and then during COVID, everything pretty much for me got canceled like it did for all of us. But I was doing, a few things under the radar. And I was leading worship for a foster kids camp right outside of Charlotte again. And my sister was like, hey, you should tell Cody you're there. You should DM him. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm sure there's so many girls that DM him. I was like, I'm not going to do that. And we really never, we hung out maybe one other time in a group setting. So I just didn't really know him at all. But I looked on Instagram and he had messaged me 3 months before and I never responded. And I was like, perfect. And so I messaged him and I was like, sorry, I never responded, but I'm in town if you want to come hang out with me. And he did. And we had the best time. He was so sweet. And he's local celebrity in Charlotte. And he was just I kind of, even though it was during COVID, I got to see him interact with all these people and the way that he was with all the kids and the counselors. And he was just so humble and so sweet and funny. And I was like, oh my gosh, who is this man? And I was literally, I think that night I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to marry him. I was so in love. It was real. I was like, I love him. So, I mean, I don't know if I was yeah, he's just so adorable. How can you not love him? So that's how we met. And then 3 years up. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we got it. We did it. It was in it's called Crowder's Mountain in Charlotte. Mountain is a relative term for, Washington, who's Washington West Coaster.
It's beautiful.
It's a hill. But anyway, so we went to the camp, and then as a part of the camp, we kind of hiked up the mountain. And that was really our first time to like talk and hang, and kind of like broke away from the group and really got to talk to each other. But then fast forward 2 years later, then we got engaged at the same spot. And so that was kind of a fun little like circle back to kind of our first date.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little COVID love.
COVID love. And he's like, I told him the one thing I wanted for the proposals that I really wanted to be surprised. And he really surprised me. Very romantic, very sweet. He crushed it.
He has always been this. And Leanna, I want to ask this question, and please correct me if this is not the trajectory, but your career is taking off right now. You are not only have you recently performed at CMA Fest, you've come out with your sophomore album that's absolutely wonderful and beautiful in so many ways. We're gonna get to the just like heart of why you're doing what you're doing. But I sit, I think, from a different perspective. I kind of joked about it, but it was true. And you know this about your husband, but he's an incredible man who has navigated things that some people would just be eaten up and spitting out by. As I mentioned, he came to IU and it was talked about all across the country. He plays basketball at IU and he's the most recognizable face in college basketball. He gets drafted into the NBA. Yet I know that no matter what point I would run into Cody, Cody would be Cody. That he would be humble and kind, that he would take time for the outsider, that he would point people to Christ, that it it never felt, Cody, like your world got any bigger than what exists within you and what you're like driven by. And so I wonder, and this is a two-part question. Cody, how are you going to be a husband to Leanna now as she steps into this whole new season of being known and being, seen? And how did you navigate this in such a beautiful way that never let you lose who you are in the midst of being a 19-year-old kid?
You're too kind, man. That's really good. And I think, I would credit for one, the way I was raised, my parents, my older brothers, and honestly, like my friends when I was in college, yourself included. If I was acting up, you would have been one that would have said like, "Hey, Cody, let's straighten up here." Like I had great men around me,
Hmm.
like I said, yourself included, that if I would have started, my head got too big or I started acting some type of way, you would have been one of the first to be like, "Hey, let's get back on the straight and narrow." And so, and I think that's like the biggest compliment that you could give me is like, regardless of what happens on the court for me, I wanted to be, and still today, like I want to be a man of God. I want to be known as a person that like has time for everyone, um, and so it's really fun for me now because my basketball career has come to an end. And yeah, I'm thankful for a long NBA career. You know, very blessed. But now I can like shift my focus toward being a husband and soon to be dad. And, I've done it. I've lived in the spotlight. It has its pros and cons, but now I can fully support Leanna. And it's just like um, our schedules even have like completely flipped to like, I was always busy, busy, busy. And now I have all this free time and she's on the road so much. So like, to give a little glimpse into our life now is like, she's on the road. Last year she played 82 shows. She's on the road constantly, but like, last weekend she was home for 2 days and I was like, whenever you get home, you're going to rest. Like I got lunch and dinner prepared. I'm going to cook you dinner. You sit on the couch, like I got the house cleaned. I'm like, whatever I can do to support you, like you got 2 days to rest up. And, so just trying to find ways that, yeah, she is continuing to spread the word with her music and her energy on stage and traveling. And my way of supporting her is like to make home really feel like home. And yeah, I can go out and support her. Occasionally, I go to a handful of her shows on the road, but whenever I can support her here at home, I know that it takes a lot out of you being on the road.
Mm.
Leanna, I mean, so much of what you talk about publicly is your prayer life and being thankful also for the unanswered prayers. I don't want to like put your childhood into this if it's not true, but I know my wife. My wife has pursued Jesus since I think she came out of the womb and has done a tremendous job at it. And I feel lucky every day that I married a woman that's so pure in heart. Um, I'm assuming you prayed for your husband growing up. And I'm assuming there was times of frustration as you looked for this person and you weren't finding it. And then you find it in Cody. Um, how has this season of being married and now being pregnant and starting this family, h- what kind of conversations are you having today with God?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful. I definitely did pray for my husband, and my parents are Jesus loving people, and I'm so grateful for them. And they definitely raised us kids like in a Jesus loving home. Like they love the Lord, and I'm so grateful for that. And that was like their advice was like pray for your future husband. And I was like kind of, I mean, I just didn't know, like, I would go to friends' weddings, and they would be talking about, like, in their vows, like, how much they love each other and how proud they are of each other, and I was like, "That's so cool, I don't think that's real." Like, I literally was like, I don't not that I like, my parents have the best marriage, like, I've seen love, but I was like, "I just don't know if I'm ever gonna feel that way with someone." Like, I was just generally like, "I don't think I'm ever gonna love somebody that much." And then I met Cody, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love him so much, and he's, like, the most amazing man, like, he's everything and more that I prayed for." And I think just, like, that is such a I feel so, so thankful. I feel like he's such an answered prayer, and I'm so grateful that God brought him, into my life. Even, I've wanted to be a mom forever, like, I've always wanted to be a mom, and that was, like, something that we prayed for, and it took a while to get pregnant, so that was, like, kind of a season of, like that was my prayer life was, like, a little bit more, intense, maybe a little more angry with the Lord, which I'm, like, thankful he can I write about that in my songs, like, he can handle all of it, he can, but that's, like, the unanswered prayers, the things that I'm like, I know I'm praying for a good thing, I know we're praying for good things, but, like, when God doesn't answer it in our timing, and so it feels just like such an extra, like, there's such a sweetness to this season of, like, being pregnant and looking forward to, our little boy in November. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just a lifelong thing of just like learning to trust God and trust that his plan is so much better, even when I would just like to take the reins and be like, I think I would do a better job, but I know I wouldn't. Like, I know I wouldn't, but I'm just like, Lord, I would like to be in charge for just a little while. That I'm thankful because the doors that closed for me, like like professionally or personally, even the last few years or since I've been in Nashville, like I'm actually so genuinely thankful for them because like God had me on a different journey, even if it was hard at the time. And so, and I can say that like right now in this season, but I am grateful for the closed doors, and for his timing.
I like that you said little boy. There's zero chance it's a little boy.
I'm praying for a little boy now, but hopefully he grows outside. Like I don't want a massive baby in my tummy.
You got to talk to Cody's mom and see how this
Yeah.
all plays out.
Yeah.
I can't imagine your food bill. It's going to be insane. Uh, the the two of you together can really answer this, and the listeners of this show come from all different aspects. People that are in really great seasons, people that are struggling, trying to figure out their way. But you've talked about it, and Cody, I couldn't find anything where you've talked about it, but I'm sure you've seen it and been around it. But you've talked about how your identity can so quickly get kind of wrapped up in your career, how you start to be known as the basketball player or the artist, and that's what you got to play into. How have the two of you, I guess, together as a couple and individually, separated those things and not allowed the labels to kind of consume you, but yet still pursue greatness in both of these?
Yeah. You wanna go? I
Good
mean,
question.
that is
Yeah.
a great.
I think, I think for me, when I was playing, I had 10 surgeries throughout my NBA career. Uh, Two on my left knee, one on my right knee, both my shoulders, both my hands, three on my nose. And I think that each time that basketball was taken away from me for a stretch of time, for an injury, for a rehab, it kind of made me reevaluate. Like I say that my faith, my family, and then basketball in that order. But do I really like, is my identity based on what I'm doing on the court? And so I think those were each kind of like a little bit of a blessing, especially now.
Mm.
So many guys struggle with post career of like their whole life is basketball and that comes to an end. And it's a hard reality for a lot of guys. And I think that, yeah, there's still some days where I miss it or especially miss being around the guys or in the locker room. But I really think that, I think that kind of each injury that I went throughout my career kind of tested of like, where are my priorities? And it's made it so much easier on this side of, post career that, um, yeah, it's that perspective. There's a lot more to life than what happens on the court.
Mm. That's really good. The artist thing isn't quite as dangerous as far as injuries go. So I didn't have any of those. I'm thankful. I was present for a few of those too. It's good
Yeah,
times.
she didn't know she was signed up to be a nurse. When she
Yeah, no,
I do not have a very weak stomach, but I was fine. I did it for you.
Yeah.
It's true love. No, I think for me it's just like having I heard this advice from an artist. I think it was Amy Grant a while ago, but it was just like having like real people in your life that like know you as just you and like that's your family, your people, like my like his family and my family. I feel like we can call our parents and they're talking about like our nieces and nephews and the soccer games they had and like all that stuff of like they're so supportive and like love what we do. But I think just like having people in our lives, I'm really grateful to have friends and family that like don't care about that. Like they obviously they're so supportive and they care about my music and they care about what we're doing, but they just love us because, they don't know even what's happening. Like last year I celebrated my first like radio #1 with my song Still Waters and it was like this really big deal and I remember I called my sister, my older sister, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you." She's like, "What does that mean?" Like I don't know, like literally like I don't know what that means, but I'm really happy for you. And kind of just like that helps me a lot of just like there's just such a reality of like we have the most supportive family and friends, but yet the music stuff doesn't really matter. And I feel like which helps me a lot too. I don't know. It does. Like it does matter to them. They're so supportive, but like we can have real conversations.
Sometimes when she's like, I got a #1 song, I'm like, that's great, but the dishes need to be done and the laundry needs to be done and it's time to get back to work.
Yeah.
So I really kind of knocked her down a couple notches.
He does not do that.
So that helps too.
I do.
We keep it humble.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Your household is got to be one of the most fascinating households to be a part of. And it reminds me of a story, that Cody and our buddy Corey and I had a text that was very active in the midst of when my life was kind of spiraling in all directions. And I remember I called Corey, who's now the head coach at Oral Roberts University, a great friend to us, and a really good man. And I had just gotten out of this like A-list party. And I felt really cool. And I was like telling him all the people I sat next to and the people I met and whose phone number I got. And I'll never forget this. I remember I called Corey to like get that credit from him. Like, you've made it, I think was what I was looking for. Like, wow, how cool are you? And he goes, "That's great, man. Did you see about the Cubs game last night?" And I said, No. You missed what I just told you. Here's and he goes, "That's great. I don't care."
Yeah.
And at the time I was like so frustrated. And he followed it up with this. He said, "Ben, this thing is never meant to be about you. None of it is. It's never meant to be about you. It's always been about something greater than you." And at that moment, all of a sudden, like you shrink into like forced humility and you start to see, you're right. Like the harder I chase this, the more successes I brag about, the more lonely I'll become. And And so this like echo when you share that story of your sister like being like, that's awesome. I don't know what that means. Or,
Yeah.
hey, you're coming home to a husband who's like, hey, you've been gone for 4 days. Can we go for a walk and like not talk about music? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's such a beautiful reality to how like you're living life. And that's actually, I think, the best kind of support. Uh, Leanna, before we really dive into Still Waters and your sophomore album and kind of what the future looks like, Cody, you said something. I'm just curious. Um, you said that like a lot of people post career and like you've lived in, professional sports, but I think this is common for so many people post career or post peak, what they believe is their peak in life,
Mm.
really struggle. How are you going to navigate that now, not only with yourself, but because I think you have a great wife who's going to support you, you're going to be a dad soon, like there's a lot going on, but like with the people that your peers, your friends, what would you tell somebody listening who's like, hey, I'm not a professional basketball player, but I just retired and I don't know what to do with myself. How does what do you do with the future?
Yeah, I think I've been telling people that it's like they're like, "Do you miss playing?" Like half of it is on the court, and I watch games now, and I'm like, "That just looks like it hurts." Like I'm done, I'm happy done. I think the other half is like, okay, now I'm 33 years old. Like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And
Mm-hmm.
I heard a speaker that spoke to our team that said that a lot of people spend their whole life trying to figure out what they're really good at, what they're meant to do. And then they spend the rest of their life trying to get to the top of that industry or that group. And so I found what I was meant to do was play basketball, and I made it to the top, and I had a successful career. And at 31, it's over. And so, yeah, like I've enjoyed playing golf more and going to more of her shows, and we've been on cool vacations. But there is still like a little bit of like, finding purpose in life. Like everyone wants to like wake up in the morning and like, what was I like something purposeful that I'm like moving the needle in. So I've been really cautious to like not just fill my days with stuff, like not just to stay busy. Like I really have been looking for like purposeful things that will be gratifying to me. I joined the Riley Children's Hospital, the board of Riley Children's Hospital in Indy. I help out a little bit, like Vanderbilt, Belmont, Lipscomb is all right here in Nashville, as well as UNC Charlotte, back in Charlotte. So I help out a little bit with them, just being like, I had so many good coaches and mentors in my life, and to kind of give back to the next generation of players. Um, and then like, becoming a dad and a parent is going to be so much fun for us. And you talk about purpose, like there's nothing more important than raising your kids. Um, so yeah, that's a really good question that I haven't totally figured out the right answer for, but something I'm working through. But yeah, it's good.
It's I think it's such a valuable wisdom that you can share and that so many people will listen to. I think as you search through it, I mean, I don't know anybody at my age now, and we're just a few years apart, that are kind of in that midlife. What is this whole thing when it comes to what's my purpose, or what impact am I making? And then you add on to it, like you said, that you had a really successful career and a long career, and you retire at 31. Like goodness, I felt like when my wife turned 31, like you're still like a baby, like you're still like a child, like it's wild that I look back on 31 and think, how many things I was still learning along the way. And you were saying goodbye to something. So I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, Cody. And I think you're the perfect person for it. Whatever that looks like. And then goodness, you get to be a dad. Let me tell you, there's nothing like, there's so many nights I go to bed and thank God that I get to work from home. Like it just, like it's incredible to have those moments, or she peeks her head around the corner and says data, and you're like, I get to be here for that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But Leanna, we're going to switch to you. Tell me if I'm wrong on any of this. This is just what like I said, it took me a bit just to copy and paste all the things that have happened in the last year for you. As I said, you recently performed at CMA Fest. You're the GMA Dove Award New Artist of the Year. You've come out with your sophomore album, Thank God. The song that in 2024 came out that, as you said, reached number one was Still Waters, one that we love here in the household. I would love for you to speak to some of these things that are happening in your life here, but one of the things I love most about your music is I love to listen to music and kind of like pray through them. Let like the words of the artist or the words of the song kind of like I tell my wife back and they like pour over me. Just like I just want to feel less alone, or I want to feel like somebody else is crying out to God in a similar way. And you've mentioned publicly that a lot of these songs are like journal entries. They are the cries from your heart. At what point did you say, hey, these journal entries, because I have a journal too, I couldn't turn it into music, let me tell you. At what point did you say, hey, these could actually be like, these could be songs, or these could be listened to and enjoyed by the masses?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I ever know if it's gonna be listened to or not. Like, I hope so. I think I've always kind of just, like, written out my feelings and put melody to it. Like, I just, like that's kind of how I process, like, I do journal a lot, and a lot of my songs will come literally straight out of my journal, and then sometimes, like, I'm just, like, worshiping at my piano or with my guitar, and that becomes a song. But, I mean, I think I'm all like, I've gotten better at it over the years, especially when I first started. I was, like, so nervous to share a song with somebody and, so nervous to be like, "Okay, is this good or not?" And I'm out here as, like, I hope people like the songs, but that's, like, with anything you do, like, "Okay, I hope people like this." And music is such a it's not for everybody, obviously. Like, my songs, not everybody's gonna connect to them, and that's okay. It's like, I'm not gonna be for everyone. But my prayer is always like through writing my own story, through writing my journal entries, that somebody will hear their own story in that music. And I think that's like the power of songs, the power of music. Like I really do feel like that's what music does for us is like it connects us in such a beautiful way. And so that's why I love just kind of writing my story. Like I think when I first started too, I was like, okay, what do people want to hear? What do I feel like needs to be said? Blah blah. Like what do I and then now I'm just sort of like, what do I want to say? Like what's important to me? What is on my heart? And I think that's the most genuine place I can write from and share from and sing from. And as like as a Christian artist, as a CCM artist, like I want my songs to really, mean something. And I'm, doing these radio interviews or whatever. And like, I have to genuinely believe what I'm saying and what I'm singing about. Cause I'm talking about, like, I think you can just tell in any genre, but you can just tell, I feel like when an artist, when it's like, maybe not something they totally believe in or when they do totally believe in it. And so I feel like I'm, it's always figuring it out, but I get to write with amazing people. And so that really helps too when I like co-write and I can kind of be like, hey, is this a cool idea? Is this not a cool idea? And then, there's a lot of honesty that happens. And sometimes it's hey, this is really cool. Let's write this. And sometimes it's not. And we love a lot of feedback. The songs go through a lot of feedback before they get out, and there's a lot of songs that don't make it, not because they're not good songs, but just because it doesn't make sense for that season. So the whole process, but I really love like I do love the process. And yeah, I mean I hope the songs, I hope they get heard by the masses, but you just never know also. Like I'm also like I just hope one person is encouraged by it. And so that's kind of always my prayer with it.
It's so cool because it's like her songs are like so vulnerable and have impacted so many lives. And she does like Q&A occasionally at some of her shows, and there'll be like an 8-year-old girl and it'll be a 60-year-old lady that's like totally impacted by the words of her music. And it's funny to me because I'm like, people like me because I could put a ball in a hoop, and here you are like changing lives with their music. So it's so cool to be a fly on the wall for some of those. It's really cool.
Well, and I imagine, Cody, like you're a loving husband who desires to pursue your wife and with curiosity. I just would assume that about you. Are you learning stuff when you listen to her music sometimes, like about her?
Good question. It's fun. It's fun for me to see like the behind the scenes of like how a song is put together, even because it'll be like she's so creative and such a good songwriter that whatever we see on TV or like at dinner or whatever we hear, she'll like go in the piano in the other room and like try to, while she has it in her mind, like try to put a melody with it, or is that the right word? Melody
Yeah,
with
you
it.
got it.
And I know nothing about music, by the way. I can't even clap on beat.
The
So
same. Yeah, I'm
it's
like,
fun.
that's amazing.
Yeah, dude, it's just fun for me to be like, wow, she is so good at what she does. And there's the catalog of songs that people will never hear is pretty long. Like they really go through a big process to like narrow the list down from 50 to 20 to 10 for the album, you know? And so it's fun for me to kind of see the behind the scenes of every song and catalog, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing but impressive to me because I'm with Cody. I can't clap on beat, and then to have somebody hear something and go, "I'm gonna go work on it," and
Yeah.
that's beyond
Incredible.
me.
Yeah.
Leanna, you write these songs, and they are vulnerable. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy them so much. For my personality type, like I want the authenticity, I want the grit, I want to hear, when you're doing great and when you're struggling. Who are you writing these for? Or I guess maybe the better question is,
Yeah.
when somebody listens, what do you else? I mean, we all know you're trying to point people to Jesus and the beauty that is the God that saves. But if we could maybe like assume that and take it one step lower, what are you hoping people get out of it?
Yeah, I'm always hoping that like whoever hears my song, whether they're 8 years old or 80 or somewhere in between, that like they're hearing one, like maybe hearing themselves in the music, but then also that they just feel a little less alone. Like I think there's just so much power in like being like, okay, you're not the only one that's felt these things. Like we might have a totally different story. We might be walking through a totally different season of life, but like you're not alone in feeling these things. I've also doubted God. I've also had trust issues. I've also been brokenhearted. Like we've all been hurting. And I think sometimes putting that in a 3.5 minute song and just being able to kind of share that of like, I'm writing the songs a lot of times because I'm processing, through life. Like I feel like I'm needing to write it. But then my prayer is always that the listener, whoever that is, just feels a little less alone, a little seen, a little more seen, like a little like, hey, and always, like you said, like with the hope that we have in Jesus. Like there's always that. Even if it's like some of my music doesn't necessarily like resolve, which is also like intentional because sometimes life doesn't resolve the way we want it to, like it's just you don't know, like we don't have all the answers. And so I think there's also a beauty in that too. And like yeah, I always pray that like that someone will feel less alone when they hear the songs and be encouraged and know about Jesus and all those important things. But I think just like feeling seen, I think it's just it's a I don't know, it's music kind of I think can do that in a unique way, that maybe other stuff can't.
One of the hard parts about having the two of you here is there's 1,000 aspects of your life that I'd want to dig into. Um, but we kind of got to do the highlight version, or you're going to be sitting here for 5 hours, and you both have lives outside of it. I look up to Cody so much for the man he is and has always been. And Leanna, as I listen to your music, you have poured truth and love and that, um, in the most beautiful ways that I do think help people feel less alone. I know at least one myself, listen to your music and go, "Hey, that's it." Before we got on here, I was playing your music and I yelled out to Jess about it. You're both, I think, what I would describe as like a power couple in the most beautiful ways that is, going to do incredible things and have already done incredible things for the kingdom. And I encourage anybody listening, to do deeper dives into both of you as individuals, and then just try to picture that the two of you came together in this beautiful way, that is God ordained. But in closing here, you are about to become parents. And I know Cody's family, and they're an incredible family. Leanna, I don't know your family, but you've spoken about the love that your parents share for each other. and the family that you have. We're all lucky sitting here to have loving families who have poured sacrifice and truth and love over us, and that we can sit here today and speak to it. But as you welcome this beautiful baby boy into the world, I'm not going to say little, as you welcome this beautiful baby boy into the world, what are some of the things that you want to pass on that intentionally stand out to you about the way you were raised? And kind of, if you can take a second, is almost like a thank you letter to your parents, because I can't think of a better gift than as parents to have adult children saying, I hope to represent this because that's what was represented to me. What do you hope's passed on?
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, you go first because I need some time to think about it.
I have so many things. I feel like I have so many things from your parents too, but from my parents, like growing up, it's so funny because we were raised like very similarly and like we're very close with our families, but then also so different. Like we have different things too, but like I love that. I don't know, like his family's the best, like my family's the best. Anyways, it's just fun to think about that. Something that I loved about our home growing up that I would love to pass on is like we always like, and my mom, she said this was like a huge prayer of hers, but that like our home would be one of just like full of like joy. And there would always be like our house was always the one that like everybody was over. And it was like so much an open door that sometimes we had to tell our friends, like, please knock before you get here. Cause we don't know if you're like, it was just, people are just always in the house. And I loved that so much. And it just felt like such a safe place that it just felt like, yeah, everybody wanted to come to the house and hang. And of course, my parents loved that. But like, I would love that. Like, and I pray for that, even though it's just the two of us in our home. Like, I pray for us to have joy and to laugh a lot, and that our home would be just such a sweet, like, safe place. And then, something I loved that like my parents would do, that it like, I mean, kind of like praying before they go anywhere, like, especially my mom, she's like always like, okay, we're about to walk into this space. Like, let's pray, which I love. Like, it's just kind of part of breathing almost. And then I loved like walking outstairs on a, weekend, and cause my dad got up before I did for work during the week, but on the weekend and seeing my dad in the word, just like in the kitchen. And then during the week, I'd see my mom in the word. And I just like loved the example that they set of just like being like seeing them in the word. It was just very much a part of like their lives. And I don't know that they were even conscious that I was watching, but I was. And so I would love to do that. Those are my things.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Really good answer. I think I was about to say the same thing that, like, I think I learned so much from my parents just by watching them, of like seeing them, going to church and having the word open and starting their day that way. Also, like work ethic, like my dad, being at work at 5 a.m. and back at 6 p.m., and so I hope that, maybe it doesn't look exactly like that for me as a dad, but I hope that, the same stuff that my parents instilled in me of like faith and work ethic and treating people the right way and, all that hopefully, that's a really good question, Nick, because that's something that is like really reflective that, and this reality of like, I'm going to be a dad is coming up really, really quickly. And, it's so exciting, but also that's a scary question because, it can be, the best thing that they're watching everything that I do and hopefully taking the good things, but I have plenty of flaws as well,
Same.
and so hopefully I can instill more of the good parts of my, character and work ethic than few of my flaws. So,
Great dad. It's
really
so
excited.
funny. Even naming the baby, even naming our boy, I'm like, we still don't have a name because I feel like there's so much pressure. Like, we're naming this child, and I'm like, and then we have to raise the child. I'm like, I feel like a teenage mom, even though I'm 31. Like, I literally feel like a teen mom. I don't feel like I know what I'm doing, but
That won't change.
yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm 18 months in, and there's many a moments. Luckily, you guys are great partners to each other, where you're going to be looking at each other and be like, I don't know, like this is new. You just don't say it to people unless you mean it. So if nobody's told you this before, it's probably because they feel the opposite. But I have a lot of confidence in saying that the two of you are made to be incredible parents. Like, the kid is gifted at all ways, by having the two of you there. I don't share parenting advice because there really isn't much good parenting advice. But it's funny. My wife and I yesterday were talking. I've noticed so many things that I do that now at 18 months old, my daughter is mirroring, just like small things. Like when I get done with a task, I always go, okay. And she now does that over and over again with
That's
me.
awesome.
So I do think the watching is so much more valuable than anything else that could be said or taught. It's just the witness, which I think the witness is how the whole world has come to the faith that we have. Hey, I will let you guys go, but thank you for jumping on. This is a gift to me to be able to hang out with the two of you. And I know it won't be the last time that I get the two of you. But it's such a gift to see both of you thrive and be the people you are and be the people you are to each other. I thank God, Leanna, that Cody found you because we tried our darndest in college to find somebody, and that guy was just not interested. So
I really
I don't
think
know whether
that.
it was my fault or there was no girls interested in me.
yeah,
One way or the other. Yeah.
I think the big handsome nickname was pointing it to not be your fault, Cody. But I think you had other things in line, and I think you had the picture of Leanna probably the whole time. So the fact that you two are sitting here with me is a joy. But I appreciate you guys coming on, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you for having
the
us.
last time the three of us hung out was at the national championship game.
Yeah, and look where that
football.
ended up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's do it again this year, and let's do it again. Yeah.
I would absolutely love that so much.
All right, thanks for having us
Thank
on.
you for having us.
Hey friends, thanks for listening or watching. Would you take a second, follow, subscribe, and drop a comment? It really helps.